Good day, everyone. How are you doing? What's going on, people? So today we have a Volvo. Now, a couple things. Volvos, just like Saabs, are hit or miss, meaning some of them you can do, some of them you can't do. This guy wants to spend the least amount possible to try to upgrade his stereo. Meaning he doesn't want new speakers, he doesn't want a new amp, he just really just wants a new radio, he wants a video head unit, that's it. So the plan is to take out the factory radio, see if it's upgradable to an aftermarket radio. And if we can, great. Can't, then we're just gonna do a subwoofer in the trunk high level radio. Now, let's take a look at this factory radio. This was a cool feature that Alpine came out with back in the day to try to give you the ability to have more music in the dash. This is a 3-disc in-dash CD changer that probably doesn't work anymore. Let's see what we got. Bummer. So what it would do is it would come out of the dash about halfway, change discs, and then go back in. It was a pretty cool feature. But today, we're not keeping it, obviously. What we want to do is get this radio out. The cool thing about these radios is they have these little guys right here. Just need to stick in a little, push these little guys like this. And the radio comes out. Now we're gonna get our cool little sock for the gear shifter and get this car dressed up before we go any further. The center pin is 12 volts. This one. This one's not. Whew. Alright, so that's this hole right here. Perfect. So we know the center pin is remote turn on. So that would mean the other 4 have to be signals. So that if that's the case, we should be able to put this into any one of these other ones and get something. But we're not getting. Hey, there we go. That's a little bit of something. Was it that low of an output? So here's what I'm thinking. If I cut this all apart and then just resolder it on, we should be able to at least get somewhere, because we know which one is ground and we know which ones are all signal. The only thing we don't know is which one is left, right, front, rear. So if we just go ahead and desolder this, then we can hopefully...
we test it from here?
Put that on continuity for a second. The center pin, this one is remote. This red is ground. Grab a gator clip. So, but now I can meter between these points here and these points here and figure out what pins they are, and then I can put them in this so that I know how I have to resolder it onto these pins. And then I have to take this harness and repin it to match this harness. Alright, so here's what we've come up with. As you can see, there's a certain amount of troubleshooting or planning that's involved in trying to get this to work. Metra makes this harness here, which is the 79223, which apparently is a new harness that we don't have. The problem is that this harness right here isn't the one that's in the car. It's actually using what would be a 9220 style harness, so it's a different harness altogether. So that leads me to believe that this might not even work. However, this harness, this is a Mitsubishi C2R MIT. It's essentially the same harnesses, meaning it's got the cool DIN as you saw, and it has the cool power plug. This is the harness that is plugged in the back of the radio, this guy here, which is the 9220. And they're the same basic shape as the Mitsubishi harness. They're just pinned wrong. So this would be easy enough to repin this to match this. So I'm not worried about that. Now what we just had to do is figure out what all the pins were on the factory harness, because they're not this. This plugs in, but they don't go to the same spots. So the plan is to go ahead and desolder all all these wires off of here and then resolder them in the right order so that we can then test it to see if it works. What we need to do first though is that we know which one of these connectors go to which pin here so that we can write it on here so that we can resolder it in the right direction. Sound confusing? Well, it is, but it's what makes this fun.
I'm gonna mount the amp right here.
Where?
I'm gonna make a double wall, so I'm gonna put this plastic behind this.
Okay.
And then on top of this, so the amp is gonna screw in here.
So where the wire is going?
The wire is gonna go here.
Is there a tunnel behind there?
Yeah.
You have the inside of the car all apart. That must be the tunnel there. This was a pain in the butt. There's actually latches underneath here, so you have to like lift up the back seat, crawl up underneath there, and release these so that you can get the headrests out. So what we did is when we had it in there, we were test toning it, we marked down which wire goes to what speaker, and now we can reverse engineer that to figure out what pin that is. So for example, the pin here is 4, 3, this one's 2, and the remote is 1. Alright, so we know where these need to be located now. All we need to do is do some soldering. Now I went ahead and just added regular wire onto this so that I can make other connections out here. As opposed to trying to fight to get these back on. All right, so phase 1 done. We have a harness. Let's go ahead and take it in the car, see if it works. So far, so good. This is doing what it's supposed to do. Let's go ahead and head back over to the bench and repin the main power plug so that we can test an actual radio. The first thing we want to do is get all the wires out of this. Alright, now that we have all the wires out, we're going to go ahead and repin it. And we don't have a black wire on the Mitsubishi harness, so we'll just go ahead and take the extra orange wire and put some black heat shrink over it, and we'll have a black wire. Alright, so we're good. So now we can go ahead and put this back, and we can go ahead and solder our aftermarket harness onto this, get it in the car, see if it actually works. Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and test this in the car. Success!
Awesome.
I know, right? Good news is we have audio. It sounds good. Everything's playing the way it's supposed to. So we are halfway there as far as this radio is concerned. Now, the only other problem is they don't make a dash kit for this car. So we need to make one of those. And actually, it's not going to be as bad as we initially thought. Pioneer actually makes a doubled-in cage that fits. So let's take a look at that. But on our way to take a look at that, let's check out Fernando's progress on getting the amplifier in. So he's got both panels mounted in like he was talking about, and now he's going through running the wire into the car. As you can see down here, you gotta snake it all the way up through there and down through that scary tunnel. And the loom is actually our wire. So this is the kit here. It's the ADT VA133. Basically what you get inside of it is a double ding cage, a trim bracket, as well as these brackets that mount onto the side of the radio, and then they screw into here and here and here and here. Now the problem we're gonna have is that with this cage, it has these little push tabs that need to dig into something, and in this car, the only holes are these, which don't line up with, they don't line up. So what we're gonna do is we're actually going to scratch in a little area here and on the other side, and then we will drill these holes so that we can then push these tabs in. So now right here on the sides, we have our little marks. We can go ahead and hit it with a uni bit, make big enough holes so that we can then push those tabs in and lock it in place. Now before we mount this in the car, what we want to do is line up the face of our radio. And to do that, you essentially just have to kind of guess where these holes need to go. And you also need to use the tapered screw. Inside this little black trim bezel, there's 4 little tips here, here, and on this. And what they're designed to do is on the cage, you have these little teeth that stick out. That's what those little pins stick into. So Fernando went ahead and got the wire through the firewall for me, somewhere down up in there, drilled the hole, and we came in and around and ended up doing a S-bend style fuse holder right here. Mounts down there to the frame rail and attaches over here to one of the factory bolts. Now we have the amplifier all in. He's got the whole area back here back together. That is our subwoofer wire, which is going to attach to that wire there. We're doing a 212 shallow mount CompRT box. Gonna slide up into that area. We'll show you, of course, when we're done. And then he's just finishing wiring in the Bluetooth mic so that we can go ahead and get this all taken care of. Alright, so we have the box in. Go ahead and slide it up into place. Scoots right underneath there, so you still have some trunk space left. Kind of nice. Which is for the jumper cables, which he definitely needs. So this had the ski chute, the actual bag for the ski chute. So we went ahead and took that out so that he can have some base come through the cool little hole here. Of course, this turns into an armrest, which is kind of nice. So we have it tuned up to about where we want it. So we're going to give it one final listen. Here's what the radio looks like in the dash, just so you guys can get a close-up look at that. Looks nice. All right, so we got a convertible with a little bit of bass. Yay! And of course, we got the new radio in, which I think was the most important thing. Awesome. Well, as we like to say,
I'll do it next time.